bus has a, I think, really quite exciting statistic down the side of it. And it says if you filled that bus with 78 cancer patients, if all those patients came forward early and were diagnosed at an early stage, 65 of them would survive cancer. So the whole campaign is around encouraging people to come forward, making sure that they know the symptoms to look out for, and encouraging them to come forward and make an appointment early rather than sitting on things and waiting, which leaves you with worry and could possibly leave you such that if you did have cancer and you leave it until it's spread, then it's much more difficult to treat. So we've got, I think, a really positive cancer message here. Come and see us. Hopefully we will just reassure you, because let's be honest, the vast majority of the sorts of symptoms we're talking about won't be anything anywhere near as serious as cancer. But if it did happen to be cancer and we've picked it up early, we can treat you and hopefully cure you.
Okay, great. So just tell us a little more about the bus itself then. What's actually on it, and when people go and visit the bus, what will actually happen?
So the bus will be, next week, we'll be visiting Blackburn, Sunderland, Barnsley, Leicester and London. And it will be manned by experts from the NHS and from Cancer Research UK. It is, I saw it yesterday, it is loaded to the gunwales with leaflets telling people about the symptoms to look out for and encouraging and signposting people back to their GP if they've got any of those symptoms. Those leaflets are available in different languages because we have identified some of the barriers to people coming forward might be language. So hopefully we've got the resources there to signpost you, to encourage you to come forward and see us. And I would say, whether it's you or somebody that you care about, if you recognise the kind of symptoms we're talking about, blood in your wee or your poo, a new lump, pain that you can't understand, weight loss which you don't know why, feeling utterly exhausted and you don't know why, or even more common symptoms, things like diarrhea or a cough that have persisted. They're keeping going for 3 weeks or more and possibly even getting worse at that time frame. We want to see you. We really do. And if you tell your GP receptionist that you've got some of these symptoms, they will prioritise you. I know people say it's tricky sometimes to get an appointment, but our receptionists are bound by the same rules of confidentiality as the clinicians. So it's okay to tell them. They won't pass your information on, they cannot, but they will make sure that you get that appointment.
Okay, and as you mentioned earlier, you're targeting specifically areas where early diagnosis rates are low. Just remind us why it's so important that cancer is diagnosed as early as possible.
So when cancer starts, whatever part of the body it starts in, it is confined to that part of the body. And the longer we leave it, the more likely it is that it will spread. And initially it just spreads in that area and maybe then starts to go a little bit through to the neighbouring tissues. And if we leave it long enough, it then spreads to other parts of the body. So classically, it would be to the liver or the bones or the lungs or the brain. And the further it has spread, the more difficult it is to treat. And sometimes, sadly, it is not then curable. So for me, coming forwards early, everybody wins. If hopefully we're going to be able to reassure you. If we're not, and we make a cancer diagnosis, then your treatment is likely to be simpler and less invasive and much more likely to be curative. But also for the NHS, that treatment is less time consuming and less expensive. So coming forward early means that everybody wins.
Okay, and you mentioned some of the common symptoms earlier. But of course, you know, it covers, because obviously there's so many different types of cancer, the common symptoms, you know, they could be many different things, couldn't they? So why is it, you know, people might be concerned hearing some of those symptoms, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they have cancer, does it?
Not at all, and the vast majority won't have cancer. So actually coming forward means that we can just reassure you and explain what else it is. NHS England have identified that over half of us actually do worry about the symptoms of cancer on a regular basis, that you might have a twinge or something you don't understand, and you panic that it might be cancer. We want to see you for that, because it almost certainly won't be, but if it is, we can help you. So this is a very positive message. We are aware that fear can be a barrier. So we just want to reassure you that actually we're probably going to give you good news. And even if it is bad news, that bad news, if it's caught at an early stage, means that we can cure you. So please do come and have those conversations.
Okay, brilliant. So I suppose finally then, where can people find out more about the bus tour and indeed find out more about cancer in general?
Okay, so the NHS website, if you put in there the Bus-ting Cancer Tour, you'll get the details of the locations that they're going to. I am mindful that that is only 5 towns and cities. So really the overarching message is that if anything I've said to you today makes you think that maybe you need to go and see your GP, or maybe somebody that you really care about needs to, then please start having those conversations and pick up the telephone, speak to your GP surgery.